here we go.
So I decided that we are now a Lorcana store.
Why? We don't even have any packs.
I don't care. I'm never going through this again.
I'm sorry.
I am never, ever. So I feel Zach's pain because I got to be honest, Zach has been more of the card puller than I have throughout the years. And then I talked to Cardsphere, one of the lead guys at Cardsphere last night. He doesn't really want. I want him to get him on a video, but they just said they're done. They just want to completely wash their hands of all things Magic. You got to think this is Cardsphere. This was like a service that was trading hundreds of thousands of dollars between users. Lots of users were actively using their service. And look at me, I am beat. I am absolutely beat because we've been pulling deck lists today. Like there's a big deck list that Zach's pulling. I've been pulling a massive order in the back. And I don't know how you guys do it that have that are still doing Magic the Gathering cards as far as on. We just took you for a walk, dude. You knock it off.
He didn't poop though. You guys interrupted us. You're so cute. Look at that smile.
What? Zip it for a little bit. Anyway, where was my train of thought here with
Cardsphere?
Well, no, the whole thing. So I started Cardsphere. One of the main reasons that they quit is because of Project Booster Fund adding so many cards of just different versions of them. What was it looking at? It was like New Phyrexia. No. Martian Machines had like 4 different Ajani Showcase versions.
Yeah.
And I was looking for the specific one, and I'm like, wait a second, the card number on that works, but you have to match up the picture with it, and then it's like, crap, this one's foil. It's like, you're like all this stuff. It's like this isn't the version this person had ordered, and it was just I'd go through like a stack of cards and have every card but the one that they needed, and it was just so time consuming. And that's what the Cardsphere guy said that every time like something changed in a system where they're like, okay, let's rename this because it makes more sense to categorize it this way, it would crash everything, and then they'd have to go and reprogram everything. And not just that, it became a nightmare, which I'm hoping that I got all the cards right, because I'm trying to check them thoroughly. I'm trying to go down and say, is this the right version of this card? Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, this is the one they want. Okay, match it up. It is so stinking time consuming compared to how it used to be to just, and I guess Magic just doesn't care because they're just printing off cards. But again, they should, because they're doing errors after errors, like the 1/4 instead of the 2/4 creature power and toughness. And that's why I'm just like, I'm craving a game like this again, where there's a foil, a non-foil, and an extremely rare chase card.
Yep.
That's it.
What's the matter with that? Just like Pokemon. One pack to rule them all. That's all I want is one pack. That's it. Why can't we have one pack? 2 years. 2 years, an entire shelf. How are we going to do this 2 more years?
Well, the other thing they could do is, again, if they, like in my other video, if you make everything special, nothing special, and the prices, I was still looking at it, sometimes the foil etched are still the cheapest versions. Like etched foils those are kind of rare, are like the cheapest versions of it, or like the showcase foils were oftentimes the cheapest versions. And it's just a nightmare for everyone involved. Everyone is burnt out with the different versions of cards that like no one knows what's actually in a set anymore. And the whole thing is they can do the Project Booster fun, because how fun would it be to actually open up a super rare card that is, and I'll do a video about this too, about how I think that it's time for Magic to, of course, go back on this nonsense. But not only that, but Zach is like watching the dogs instead.
Well, Bruce is Buttons is taking care of Bruce's scratch.
Anyone, send me your resume if you're a good videographer, so I can.
I never signed up for this. You just make me do it.
That's trying to make Zach go fix toilets. Poor Zach. What was I talking about here? But yeah, it's just gone to the point to where like no one can keep up with this crap and no one cares. And think of how fun it would be to open up that super secret.
Oh, I don't know. I remember how fun it used to be.
Yeah.
Let's see, Kaladesh and Zendikar.
Yeah, and that's what all these people that keep saying, well, I'm getting cheap singles, I'm getting cheap singles. I can't remember a cheaper time in Standard to get cards than Zendikar. Well, first of all, Conscious Darkir with fetch lines. That destroyed every value. Sojourners were 25 cents. And it was like
$70 to build like full standard decks.
Well, besides fetch lands.
Yeah, besides fetch lands.
But then with Zendikar and Battle for Zendikar, that drove the prices down like crazy for people gambling. So you just have the kind of the.
You know where the expensive cards were? Commander decks. That's what was expensive.
Well,
one time, once a year. They came out with the Commander deck. And then we had decks that people could play, these 60 card decks.
I honestly don't know how much longer they're going to do collector boosters for, because one of the original drives with collector boosters was like the foil multiplier and the extended multiplier was so high.
Yeah.
And now there's nothing. There's no multiplier for a lot of these, like a couple of super chase cards, and they've been slotting some things in collector boosters that are super rare, like Kamigawa had the, what they call those stupid things with the
neon
one,
stuff,
and the Halo foils and the Martian Multiplier. But honestly, out of all those sets that were the most frustrating to me today of pulling, it was March of the Machines. That set is a nightmare. Yeah. And then looking over it, it's actually that's like another master set.
Yes.
There were so many reprints in that. So that's the discussion. Is I want to do a discussion on should Magic have a new reserve list. And I want to clarify, not a permanent reserve list. They really
just a hiatus.
Yeah, they really need to go on a hiatus and when they can reprint cards and when they can do a lot of specialty crap, because this is just too much. So I was going through Modern Horizons, and not only Modern Horizons, but Dominaria Remastered. Go and check out how many cards in Dominaria Remastered were already reprinted now in Wildsville Drain Enchanted Tales. So now Dominaria Remastered is just a trash, like it's an insanely trash product. And even what got me too is things with, as soon as March Machines have already been reprinted in this stuff. This is nuts. This is crazy how they're just like slotting in all these cards and no one when you're I did compare this to an all-you-can-eat buffet. If you go and eat an all-you-can-eat buffet every day that has shrimp cocktail and steak and you're gonna get sick of food very quickly. And that's a good comparison too, because it's not quality food that's coming out of this buffet. They're just overloading us with all of this stuff. It's like, have you tried the chocolate ice cream? Huh? Have you? Well, how about this time? If here's some caramel. Here's some caramel chocolate. Why are you interrupting my video, Mr.
I'm
Buttons?
sorry. He's just his head's tilting back and forth every time you talk.
Oh, you're
so
right.
Cute. Were you listening to Kevin?
But yeah,
sorry,
anyway,
guys.
I just really feel like I'm trying to adult up and be like, okay, we got a lot of inventory. Let's start selling things. Let's start pushing it. Let's go find buyers for this stuff. But good God, it is a mess now. Because I did this years ago. I used to really speculate on cards too, and organize and stuff like that. But it is an absolute nightmare now to pull card lists to try to match up stuff and whatnot. So I don't know. I've been to a lot of the comments on the videos too about why people are quitting Magic. We are all super obese in the buffet lines, and we look at now we're disgusted. We're going into the hotel room, looking in the mirror, like, what have we all done for the last 10 years? I just want to
be able to play Magic and not have to worry about, should I even hold on to my cards? When are they going to reprint it? When is it going to be completely worthless? Because when did this happen originally? When was the first time this happened, Kevin?
Well, Throne of Eldraine is the first time.
No, like Chronicles. Look what happened with Chronicles.
Well, yeah,
it's the same thing. It's just spread out.
Chronicles is a whole different can of worms, though, because they didn't print enough of that original stuff.
Yes.
So they were trying to get it way back in, but then they printed way too much of it, and then of course the collectors and stuff. And it was kind of the same problem that scarcity was the whole reason why some of the cards were worth money.
Yes.
Because they weren't good to begin with, and the Chronicles then just flooded them with all these lackluster subpar cards that did have value, that just killed a bunch of people's collections. They lost the faith in it. But yeah, it needs to be your cards, going back to good old Rudy. He doesn't understand. I don't understand why the people are like, I get cheap singles. I get cheap. Well, if you spent money on a commander deck, if you spent money on a standard deck or a modern deck, if you are poor, wouldn't it be more in your interest that your card pieces that you paid money for, held their value? Rather than the evil speculators, it's like, screw it to the evil speculators. But again, the real casualty of all of this is going to be, well, the player's one thing. The players are. And I actually think it leads to less collecting, because people are like, well, because I know lots of people used to get a foil and a non-foil of everything and try to foil out a set or whatever. But the real casualties are going to be like the secondary market that actually does matter, like the stores. And that's who's going to not be, carrying singles as much or not doing as much, because it's just the time is just going to become unprofitable at that point. And it's just, Oh man, yeah, it was a nightmare. It made me rethink a lot of like if I even want to carry singles.
That's
like
where I've been.
one of the whole points of being a local game store, and that's what I kind of shake my head at some of these stores that don't do it, because I've said before on this channel that you get a lot of the stores that are more board gamers. It seems like the board game personality is the one that wants to start a store, and they don't want to carry Magic and Pokemon, then they reluctantly do, and then you have to like the most lucrative thing about a store is to be a market, like this market where there's a lot of buying and selling and trading. And I know that we're suffering too. These collector's editions, I noticed, have really, if I were to pinpoint why events are not firing as much as they used to, I actually don't think that it's some of the usual suspects like everyone playing Commander, everyone do that. I think it's because the Wizards has trained everyone that the value is in collector boosters. Yep. They buy collector boosters, and then they have no money left to do on anything else. What used to be so cool about
there was a foiled rare in this. This is pointless. Who cares about a foiled rare? It's worthless now.
Well, again, they need I know that they're trying to that they're going to let stores, like one of the reasons why they allow stores to get collector boosters and set boosters now with the release now is we're like, okay, we want to give them an edge. We want to give them that week before it goes to the mass stores and stuff. But I really wish they'd cut that back. I actually wish they do a pre-release and then a store release and then a big box release. Yeah. And that used to have a good ecosystem because it forced everyone to play in the events if they wanted the cards. And now what we're having is people coming in, they're getting their collector boosters, and then they're like, well, I don't want to play in this worthless pre-release. I'm not going to get my money. The collector boosters where all the value's at. And it's the same thing. Then we can't fire drafts. Yep. Then we can't get people into these other events. Man, we used to, drafting used to be such a draw because stores could be like, hey, we'll sell a little bit cheaper product. And then, when Booster Pack was the only product, then it's like, okay, well, yeah, I might as well draft because I'm opening packs anyway. But now collector boosters have steered everyone away from actually purchasing other product that used to have utility or used to have people play with. And it's just, it's a nightmare. And then again, what we see with prices is it's not every, even though they've trained people to go for collector boosters because the value's there, there's not a lot of people that actually are in the market for that kind of crap, like extended arts and foils and etched and stuff like that. And what it's done is just dumb down the prices so much that it's just like going through all of our, especially March of the Machines, we had lots of foils left and showcases of all the normals we've sold to like Commander players and players because they're like, oh, let's buy the normal version, let's buy the normal version, and we're just getting absolutely flooded with like the foils and the other stuff. And then what then ends up happening is then the normal price ends up being the same as the foil price, and then we're like, I know how many times we've been up at the counter like, hey, you want to take a foil at the normal price because it'll be like 15 cents difference or something, and the players will be like, there'll be some people like no, and they're like, okay, sure, if I have to. It's like, well, it's the only one we have.
Well, the problem is the foils are still curling. Sorry, it's if it's curling and you have to see it in your deck, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, it's just, again, you can see just how exhausted I am. I was only maybe 2 hours of pulling cards. And it's just, it wasn't really the time.
This for like 6 hours days before.
It was just the frustration of like so many stinking versions. And man, again, March of the Machines was just a head scratcher. That was a master set. The amount of value they put in that has now been dumbed down to nothing. And same thing with like,
Eldraine's just as bad. Same thing. Yeah. Well, look, Strixhaven. I mean, it really, Strixhaven had that whole extra set in it. Well, you have, so it really started with Strixhaven when they did the extra ones. Yeah. Strixhaven, they added the slot. They didn't really do too much until Brothers War again, and then it's just been nonstop. Yeah. It's just been nonstop. I'm sorry. I want to go back to Pokemon. One pack. You know how special you felt when you opened up that special foiled fetch land or that wasteland or something else that was actually pretty?
I could give an argument for set boosters if they wanted to get their reprints in there. And then, like, I think I've said this a million times on this channel too, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself. If they did set boosters that, okay, we have this mechanic proliferate that's coming out. Okay, set boosters should be a card from the new set and a card from an older set that matches the new set. And they do this, I mean, at that point they might be a little bit mappable or something. I don't know exactly how they do. I'm sure set boosters are pretty mappable at this point too, of what cards go in sequences. But list card is absolutely nonsense.
It's
that needs to go away.
ridiculous.
It's another thing that's just a massive headache that just causes problems when I go to pull a card. I'm like, oh crap, is this customer going to complain because it's actually the list card, not the original card? And if you want one card that pisses me off more than anything that they've done, it's that damn Lightning Bolt Grand Prix promo.
I know.
That was supposed to be given out for a specific event, and then they go and throw it on the list.
Yeah,
like,
I
that's
know.
the stuff that makes no sense. That was collectible. That was for an event. That was supposed to be a one-time thing. So as far as what I say with a reserve list and a hiatus, like, first of all, they should have a hiatus. If the product is still in print, do not reprint it.
Yep.
That's why Modern Horizons is not moving now, because Ragavan has been reprinted, and so has there's been a few other cards that have already been reprinted.
Yep.
And that's why, we're looking at Throne of Eldraine. That was another one we're looking at. Every chase card of Throne of Eldraine has already been reprinted.
Yeah.
That's not that old of a set. And then the other thing I am
Because there's no value left anywhere else.
enough.
He's bored.
Enough, Mr. Buttons.
Get him,
Give
Bruce.
it up for a second.
Get him, Bruce.
Okay? Just for a second. But the other hiatus is like, never reprint a special version of something. If it is printed in a certain frame, stop.
Yes,
Stop
exactly.
I guess it's fight time here, so
I guess
they're
it's-
frustrated too with us not playing with them. And they got a hype.
It's
today.
about that time today. What time is it?
7 o'clock. Is it?
Yep, it's about that time. They're ready to play.
Well, that's where we're at for the day. So you got me
There you go.
crying about.
Only 16
Stuff.
minutes. Wonder
Yeah.
why my arm hurts.
We'll have a better
Anyways.
ramp video for you tomorrow. See
Chloe,
ya.
what do you want to do? Bye. Say bye, Bruce.
High five.
High five.
First one gives you a high five gets a treat.
High
No
five.
treats. The fat one does.
Yay.